After meeting up and camping with the whole crew of Crosstreks yesterday, I'm now heading off to explore some other areas with Erik and Ruth and Jason. We're up in the Central Oregon Cascades, trekking through the expansive wilderness at the feet of Three Sisters. I've plotted the route for the first part of today's excursion, and hopefully this will turn out to be an interesting drive. I mean, if you've watched many of my videos, you know it's rare when a trip goes according to plan. I guess we'll see what we find. Okay, before anyone gets bent out of shape, this is the road. On the map, the creek bed is the road for about 20 yards before it turns back into a typical primitive dirt road. We're high in the Cascades here. This creek is fed by seasonal snowmelt. It very likely isn't a year-round stream. For part of the year, you would probably drive this stretch on dry rock. So don't worry, we're not disturbing habitat, nor are we just gratuitously driving down a creek bed. We're simply following the established mapped road. We've reached the end of my route planning. Erik is taking over as navigator for the second part of the day, leading us up some other trails. He's got a potential point of interest he's trying to get us to. Erik has led us to the top of a butte where he has spotted a decommissioned fire lookout. I think we figured out this one dates to the 1930s, though it's long out of use now, and the cabin on top is almost entirely weathered away. From up here we have a commanding view of Cascade peaks in all directions. Now it's time to start thinking about finding a place to camp for the night.
Somewhere where we have a camp spot.
As we head off on our search for a campsite, we're treated to amazing views of the Three Sisters. We're not having the best of luck. I do have the chainsaw, but there are downed trees as far as the eye can see here. swear, when I'm out exploring and not looking for a place to camp, I find campsites left and right. We have probed road after road for miles and miles, and there just has been nothing even close. All of the dead-end side spurs which would normally yield a campsite have been blocked off with boulders. Still, it's been a beautiful drive, and I'm sure we'll eventually find something. Finally, we found a spot with room for all of us and an established fire ring in place. It looks like it hasn't been used in a few years though, so we're sweeping the heavy bed of pine cones and needles away from the fire ring. As usual, I'm up with the rising sun and checking out the vicinity on foot. In burn areas like this with no tree canopy, the shrubs grow dense on the ground, but there are usually fallen trees which make perfect bridges to find your way across, like a giant game of the floor is lava. Trying to get out to some kind of high point to take in the downhill view to the east, I've completely overlooked that north and middle sister have now come into view behind me. Every now and then, I'm startled by the sound of something moving nearby, but each time, it's nothing more than a tiny chipmunk. Back at camp, it's time to get some coffee going. We've broken camp and are now heading in separate directions. Erik, Ruth, and Jason will find their way back to Bend, while I wind my way north towards the nearest paved road leading west towards Eugene. Along the way, I found a road up to the top of a small butte, which I think might yield a nice view. Somewhere else out there, Erik, Ruth, and Jason have already scored a nice viewpoint of their own. While it looks like I'm just traveling across flat ground here, I'm actually well above the surrounding areas, traversing the crater of this little cinder cone. Wrapping around the far side rewards me with a vista of Broken Top and all three sisters. Well, there's the highway. It's been 3 great days of exploring dirt roads through the Cascades, but now it's time to air up and head home.